Hey everybody, it's Eric from epautos.com, your libertarian car guy, and I'm going to do a quick walk around here of this 2015 Subaru Legacy. Quick because once again it's really cold here in Southwest Virginia. Walking around the car here, if you look at this one and compare it with the 2014, you might think, hey, it's just a carryover. It looks pretty much the same as it did before. But actually, it's a pretty significant update for 2015. It's about 1.5 inches or so longer than the previous generation Legacy, and it's also a little bit wider, and the result of that is that they've carved out some more room in the inside. And the back seats are nice and roomy, very comparable to what you'd find in something like a Camry or a Fusion or the Chrysler 200 that I had recently. This car stands out in its segment for, as is well known of Subarus, about Subarus, in that it comes standard with all-wheel drive. That used to be a really big Subaru selling point because basically nobody else offered all-wheel drive other than high-end brands, more expensive brands such as Audi and some of the other German brands and Volvo. But you can still get all-wheel drive for a pretty reasonable sum over at your Subaru store. This Legacy comes standard with all-wheel drive for a little over $21,000. Two of the other cars in this segment that also offer all-wheel drive, the Chrysler 200, which I reviewed recently, and the Ford Fusion also offer all-wheel drive. However, you have to move considerably up the trim hierarchy and the price structure to get it. The all-wheel drive systems in those cars are paired with their optional engines, and the base price of those cars with all-wheel drive and their optional engines is around $27,000 to $28,000. So a very, very significant price difference if you want all-wheel drive in a mid-sized sedan. Let's see what else is new for 2015. The really big change, Subaru has had to address a deficit that it's had relative to other cars in the class. And that is fuel economy, and probably not so much because the customers demand it. Subarus have sold really well, but chiefly because the government keeps ratcheting up the fuel economy standards, which are set to tick up to 35.5 miles per gallon a little over a year from now for model year 2016. So accordingly, while the drivetrains, well, the engines mostly carry over, the 2.5 liter Boxer 4 and then the 6-cylinder Boxer that's optional, the transmissions have changed. Now both engines come only with a continuously variable CVT automatic, and formerly you could get a 6-speed manual in this car, and the 6-cylinder Boxer engine was paired with a conventional 5-speed automatic. So the downside is that you're stuck with the one transmission choice, and this is subjective, just my opinion. The car's a bit less fun to drive now with the CVT than it was with the manual or the 5-speed. But on the upside, the gas mileage is now as good or even a little bit better than other cars in this class. It's about 2 miles per gallon better than the Ford Fusion, about the same as the Chrysler 200, and hopefully that will have redirected some of Uncle's ire away from Subaru, at least for a little while. Also, the interior layout has been changed a little bit. Subarus are kind of austere, I don't know if that's exactly the right word, relative to, for example, the very lush-looking Chrysler 200, and you can see a video of that as well as pictures up on the website. But it's very functionally laid out, and very crisp. They have a touchscreen LCD display here. Let's see if I can get it to kick on for you, and you can see what it looks like. My chief objection to it, or my critique of it, is, let me get the anti-lawyer or the lawyered up I agree thing to go. If you have Sirius, for example, it's very sensitive. This has a satellite radio, and this is extremely sensitive. What happens is, see if I can show you, you try and turn it, and there's a pause before it reacts. Watch that. I just turned it, and it'll see how it took a little bit of a while to get up to 11, and then it jumps. So you're basically stuck either having to go really gradually like this, 1, 2, 3, which takes forever to get up to the higher channels. And if you try and do this, then it skips again. So you watch, there's a pause and then it skips. So I'm not a huge big fan of that. And the look of this is kind of, frankly, in my opinion, kind of sort of 1990s era Star Trek Next Generation. They're not going to be happy for me to say that, but I don't think it looks nearly as nice as some of the LCD display setups that you get in some competitor models. Anyway, let me shut the car off. One of the things that distinguishes the Legacy from some of the others in the segment too, or at least which I think people who are shopping Subarus will be interested in relative to some of the competitors, is the suite of safety technologies that are available in the car. Subaru has something called EyeSight, which is actually a bundled collection of safety features that includes lane departure warning, collision object detection, and automatic braking. And there are also standard now seat airbags which inflate here to help keep your body from getting crushed by crushing forces coming from the front of the car. So there are now 8 airbags total in this car. God help us all. Anyway, that will probably appeal to the traditional Subaru buyer. The question for Subaru is whether they're going to be able to draw in people who are now looking at some of the really attractive cars in this segment, including the 200, which I'm a big fan of, assuming it turns out to be reliable. That's the big if with that car. And also the Fusion, which is a very popular car, and the new Camry, which of course is a perennial bestseller and is now a little bit more sporty looking and driving than it used to be. So anyway, there'll be more details up when I post the review over at epautos.com. I hope you'll stop by and take a look. Leave your comments pro or con, and if you're interested in an anti-Clover EP Auto sticker, there's a little box on the top right of the page where you can find out some more info about how to get one of those. So that's it, and we will catch up with you next time.